Hello, everyone. Good evening. I have the great honor and privilege to introduce one of my favorite people in the entire world I have ever known, Dr. Tiare White. She is a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine and an incredible author and speaker who uses food, herbs, functional medicine, mind-body techniques to treat acute and chronic health issues. She holds a master's degree from Yosan University of Chinese Medicine, completed her doctorate at Pacific College of Health and Science, and has postgraduate specializations in women's health and emotional well-being. She holds a master's degree in film as well from AFI and published a book on film production and worked in film and television as a producer on many health transformation shows such as The Biggest Loser before making her transition into medicine. Always the innovator ahead of the curve, Dr. White founded one of the first wildly successful online supplement companies and became a certified nutritionist to better support her customers, which led her to becoming the doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine that she is today. She is inspired to be a resource for accessible root cause healing in our local and global community. And she is such a gift to us to share her expertise and her passion and her presence. She is an excellent human being. She's been an inspiration to me for quite some time. We came up together in our studies at both of those universities. We've had the great pleasure of doing internship hours together and also giving each other treatments. And I have to say, I'm so grateful for her friendship and mentorship and her authenticity. She's a treasured presence in my life, and I'm so grateful I have this opportunity for her to join me so that I can share her incredibleness with all of you and get some insights into her treasures. She has graciously called into this Zoom meeting here so that we can connect. She's just been moving and has a lot going on and still made time for us. And so I'm so grateful for that. And so I'm going to share a beautiful picture with her. I can share my screen and share it so that you guys can see how bright and shiny and lovely that she is.
Oh my gosh. Andrea, thank you so much. What an introduction.
You're just such an incredible human being.
Really
it's such
honored
an
by
honor
that.
and privilege to know you, and I'm so grateful for you. It's been such a
Thank
journey
you.
for us and such a blessing for us to be
Oh,
able to
yes.
connect and know each other. So here we are together here.
Well, thank you so much, Brene, for having me join this summit that you're holding and this online retreat. I'm really looking forward to being a part of it and also learning from your other amazing guests that you have lined up. And it looks like it's going to be a really fantastic, very comprehensive mind-body training that you're going to be holding.
Yes, that is the intention for all of us to share our gems so that people have the support and the toolbox that they need to go through this COVID-19 experience and any life challenge after this point. So to really have the chance to become as resilient as possible from going through this experience is my greatest hope for us coming together.
Yes.
You know a little bit about my history living through September 11th and my car accident and these life challenges that I had without the support system, without the toolbox. I really, after September 11, 2001, had a 6-year downward spiral straight to hell, so to speak. And it took me about 12 years to come back from that. So this kind of event is a trauma. It can create PTSD of a fight or flight response in our nervous system that lasts more than a month. Besides the risk of catching any types of colds or flus that compromise our immune system that could expose us to this COVID-19, the bigger picture is that the aftermath of this can turn into some other challenges as well, which I have experienced. So that's why I was so motivated to ask you to join me to really help people understand that they are not alone And we have 8,000 years of wisdom here of traditional Chinese medicine to share. And there are things that we can do to empower ourselves. There are many things that we can control. We can control our emotional state, our physical well-being, our experience of our life. We can actually control those things. And so I'm so excited for you to speak from your wonderful herbalist and nutrition point of view about these
Yes.
kinds of tools that make such a difference.
Well, one of the aspects of Chinese medicine that is really timely is the fact that it's a medicine that has a lot of experience. I really grew up in an atmosphere where epidemics were taking place constantly. So the herbal pharmacopoeia that we work with has really been shaped by that and those sorts of needs. So, I think the way that the COVID's been treated in China has really benefited from that knowledge. And there's a lot that we can do here because we have access to those same herbs.
Yes, those same herbs and those same protocols and all of that incredible research. Yes.
We also have access to the actual protocols that were used by physicians that were on the front lines in Wuhan. And that's very precious information. They were combining traditional Chinese medicine with Western interventions. And I think that was certainly an aspect that came into play with how they were able to get things under control. So that's something that I'm looking forward to sharing with everybody because we were fortunate enough, both of us, and a number of other practitioners were able to join with some online training from some of those Chinese physicians that were on the front line. So really looking forward to sharing that.
Yes, it's very empowering when we understand that we don't have to wait for a vaccine to take action. There is a wonderful preventative formula that is being used in the hospitals by the hospital workers and also early stage COVID-19 patients that's 94.3% effective.
And, irregardless of, whatever percentages we, want to ascribe to the, efficacy of those formulas, I think one thing that is really missing in the dialogue that we're having right now is really just conversations about the importance of natural immunity. Because people whose immunity, whose natural immunity is low, are having a much harder time dealing with this virus, and they would be having with really any virus. So
yeah, it doesn't have to be just COVID-19. It would be with anything, any flu, any cold, anything going on. Yeah, because they're compromised.
Right. And, which this is not to say that the quest for a vaccine or what we're doing in hospitals to help people who are dealing with advanced symptoms are not all, obviously critical and important to look at. And it's important that we have access available for those things, and it's important that research continues in that vein. However, the fact that we do have a natural immune system within us that is our first line of defense really cannot be negated. We're spending a lot of time focusing on the external things we can do, like wearing masks, social distancing, washing hands. All these things are super important. However, boosting your own natural immunity is vital. That is really the first line of defense, is your natural
definitely
immunity.
And for any type of quality of life and quality of health, that's where it all begins. That's the foundation of it all. That's the cement with which we are founded on. And that's why this whole concept of mind-body medicine, covering the mind in the morning and the body in the afternoon, because again, one of the things that has to be dealt with is our stress response, how we're responding to this and how we're dealing with the triggers. Because there's also the virus of fear that spread through all of the news reports and conversations that you can have with other people that is feeding the fight or flight to continue to shut down our immune system and our digestive system so we can't function properly. So that's part of the rub too. And then there's the
That's
whole
right.
other side of the fence, your areas of expertise, not just only herbs, but also as a nutritionist, food is medicine. Food are
Absolutely.
herbs too, right? And so
Absolutely.
that's a whole other story as well. There's
Mhm.
much we can do with what we drink and eat.
Exactly. And also with the things that we avoid play a
Yes.
big role as well. So I'm really excited that you're going to be beginning your retreat with all of the mind part of the mind body picture. Although I know they're not going to be separated, but there's going to be a focus there on your dealing with stress and the mental game, um, approaching quarantine with sort of a mindset that will hopefully help you get healthier even during this period of time
Yes, this
than
can be
you
a
were
great
possibly
opportunity
before.
to get healthier.
Exactly. It is a great
Yes.
opportunity. And people are, also being confronted with all kinds of stresses that they maybe you're not used to. Sometimes there are people in their lives that they love to get away from during the day, and
Ah,
now they have to be with them all day long. Or, learning how to deal with family members who you love, but you're not used to being with them all the time. That's these are all things that can add to stress,
yes.
and it's not a vacation for everybody. Um,
Yes.
and there are serious stresses to deal with, and when you go out into the world, there's a lot of fear. You can see it on everyone's faces, and sometimes you're surprised, and it actually can be a very wonderful feeling of that we're all in it together, and that happens too. But it's very important to exercise good mental and emotional hygiene at this point in time because, there's a field of medicine called psychoneuroimmunology. And that's a field that really acknowledges the interface between the mind and body on a scientific level, and specifically how it affects the immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I'm looking forward to giving a bit of an overview to, and then kind of plugging in the food and the herbal supports to see how those can kind of buoy up both the emotional and the immunological side of the picture, because we have herbs that can do both, and
Yes.
sometimes they're the same herb.
Yes. Isn't it
and
amazing? Yes.
and it's amazing how nature has already created sometimes the perfect combination. We won't call it a drug, but the combination remedy for so much of the human condition.
Yes.
And something that was a big wow for me as I was studying herbalism and Western medicine at the same time was that, I really learned about how we evolved with the plants. The plants and the flora and the fauna of this planet evolved together
Yeah, we're in a
in,
relationship.
in support of each other.
Yes.
So the plants created compounds that we would find useful, and therefore we'd interact with the plants and we'd help propagate them and spread their seeds. And it was a very symbiotic relationship. And we have biological systems in our body. We'll look at the endocannabinoid system, which is a system that was not even known for the longest time, but we have a system in our body that processes
some of the psychoactive, compounds in cannabis. And so that hemp plant, evolved in the same matrix that we did. And that's why we have a system that's designed to process the same compounds that are in that plant. That's why people take that plant. We would not be able to eat the food around us, to take these herbs, to do any of this if we hadn't evolved together in a cohesive, mutually supporting system. And even plants that are toxic or have toxic aspects to them, in certain doses can be our medicine, can be very
Exactly.
beneficial. And so, because people will say, well, what about poisonous plants? And, things that are poisons are sometimes poisons in a certain dose and medicines in another dose. And things that we consider wonderful food that we love to have, like sugar,
That's a great example. Yes.
are actually toxins in certain doses, and can be medicines when processed a certain way or not processed.
Or utilized by the body in
Utilized.
exercise, like marathon runners when they load up on the carbs to have the gasoline for the race, right? Then
Exactly.
it's very useful in
So
certain
it's
circumstances, just not watching TV at midnight, sucking up the ice cream necessarily.
exactly. So that's the thing, is that there's a huge body of wisdom that's available in the various traditional medicine systems from around the world, where people have documented and they've put together, millennia of what's been clinically effective in those cultures for all kinds of conditions. And these are cultures that, looked at the natural world as, that's their pharmacy. That's the natural pharmacy. And it's the one that is actually the most present, available, and that our body is most readily able to use. We cannot overlook the power of herbal, natural medicine, food as medicine, all of these things. It's really important that, especially at this point in time, that people, go beyond the chamomile and the mint tea and some of the herbs that culinary herbs, which can be very powerful. However, there are many herbs way beyond those herbs that can literally do things like kill staph infections, work in combination as kind of herbal antibiotics. And these
boost
are
immunity, like astragalus
immunity.
wamchi. Boost
Exactly.
T and B cells of immunity, significantly change our
Exactly.
immune
And
function.
that's where, the herbal training, you and I both, and acupuncturists in general, go through many years of training in using herbs as serious medicine. And in China, this epidemic has really offered an opportunity for the medicine to show just how powerful and supportive it can be. So, one of the things I was just very excited about sharing is just the power of some of the key herbs that are used in some of these formulas, like honeysuckle, andrographis.
Yes.
There are so many of them, and there are some very powerful, well-known formulas that, if you use them in combination, are the things that doctors there have been finding to be very effective. The wonderful thing about Chinese medicine is that these formulas and these herbs are, they're widely used for all kinds of conditions. So it doesn't have to be just for COVID-19 per se.
No, not at all.
They are not, in fact, specifically for any particular virus. They are simply to boost the body's responses to viral and bacterial infections per se. So, and there's so much clinical information. I mean, there are so many studies that have been
Yes.
done on all of these herbs individually, both in the East and the West. So I have no, compunction with really putting those herbs out there to say these have been really clinically evaluated. This is not, you know, just folk medicine at this point. They've certainly, these combinations have come out of even, pre-recorded time, some of them. But they've been, for thousands of years, they've been preserved as solutions to just the types of symptoms that we're battling right now with this virus.
That always
So
keep coming, because one of the
they keep
things
coming.
that's
Yeah.
so interesting when we look at the history of a country as old as China, so it's 4,000 years in written word, but this is 8,000 years of wisdom that existed prior to even the written records that we have as these classic textbooks that are translated for us to study. And there's been over 300 epidemics in the history of China. And we can
Right.
expect an epidemic of some kind every 5 to 6 years statistically.
Exactly. And here's the thing about it is that, we're all getting familiar with this sort of landscape of this coming sort of age of epidemics that, people are
like it's
really,
a new thing.
like it's a new thing. But the awareness of it is kind of a new thing. And that is where I think that the learning curve for people in terms of really taking charge of their own immunity,
Yes.
every day, to eat something, to do something that's going to be supportive of that. I think that's going to be a new thing for all of us. I think
Yes.
in general, people are more concerned about anti-aging and losing weight. That's the big thing, right? Everyone wants to look good, and that's fine. But,
Well,
if you're not,
that's the side effect of doing what you're saying. If you
and
focus
that's also
on
true.
a
That's also true.
wellness-based preventative lifestyle, then you will have those side effects. You'll not only have better quality of life and live longer, but you'll look better too.
Yes. You look
That's
better
part
too,
of the
and
Mhm. bonus of the package, right?
yeah.
If we get
Yes.
away from this, sick-based type of medicine where you only take action when you have severe symptoms, then we have so many options to feel better and look better far, far sooner before it gets further escalated into more serious health conditions that our
That's
society
right.
is plagued by today.
That's right. And not everyone in a family may want to take that knowledge on,
Mhm.
but something that I would, proffer to our listeners is that maybe they are the person in their family who
Yes.
decides to become the carrier of that knowledge. Because in most traditional cultures, there would be someone in the family who would be that person who would take responsibility for knowing what the remedies were
Mhm.
for each family member's constitutional issues.
Mhm.
And, in those cultures also, the local, community herbalist or medicine person, would know each member of each family in that village and keep the herbs and things on hand that they knew were needed in that community. And, we don't live in those times right now. So what we need to do for each other is kind of build that reservoir of knowledge, share it, learn it for each other, and share it with the people around us.
Yes, which is the being your own medicine community that this is.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
That's
And
the
so
point.
for listeners, they can, it's an exciting charge to take on, to take that on and say, I'm going to be the person who learns about the herbs and the foods and
Lifestyle.
all of these natural lifestyle enhancements and things that are going to be a reservoir of knowledge for my family.
Mhm.
Create your own home pharmacy
Mhm.
of herbs and learn how each of these elements will benefit members of your family, extended family, community, um, and be ready to speak about them and share that with people around you. And I think that, now is the time for doing that. And it's a very exciting, really, it's an exciting opportunity for a renaissance in herbal medicine.
And also civilization in our culture, quite frankly. You had
Yes.
actually sent this amazing quote by Margaret Mead, the anthropologist, that's so apropos for this
Hmm.
experience that we're in and what we're talking about here. I wanted to share this.
Yes.
When she was asked by a student to define what she considered to be the first sign of civilization in a culture, of course, we would think that would be more technology based. Was it fish hooks or clay pots or grinding stones? But no. Mead said the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture was a femur thigh bone that had been broken and then healed. She explained that in the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you would die. You can't run from danger, get to a river for a drink, or hunt for food. So then you become food for other beasts. But no, animal survives that kind of injury. But a human with a broken femur that's healed is evidence that someone did what you just said, Tiare, had taken the time to stay with the one who fell, had bound up the wound, carried the person to safety, and tended to the person through recovery. Helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts, Mead said. And so we are at our
Yes.
best when we serve others. And this is a call to action for all of us to be civilized,
Hmm.
to support each other in learning how to care for ourselves and each other. And I think more
Yes.
than ever right now, that's coming to a head for us to confront and come to terms with. We can't do this alone. We have to join together and be stronger together.
That's right. And I think that's the really the best upside. If we have to look for a silver lining
Yes.
here with all of this, it's that's what it is. It's really us um, learning how to be there for each other. Make the effort to share what you know and learn something that can be of benefit to the people around you.
Hmm.
And also, I think one of the big things is to recognize that you have the power to make a difference.
Yes.
You have the power. The information's out there. You can learn it. You can learn it to
Live it
help
and
heal
share it.
yourself. Exactly. To heal yourself, to heal those around you, to live it and inspire other people to live it. And recognize that no one is living this perfectly. You're going to have a lot of guests that are going to be talking about all sorts of techniques and things. They may not, we're all human. We may not be applying these things 100% all the time, but that's another part of the challenge, is learning how to change your habits and adopt habits that are supportive, and how to move away from those that haven't been.
Which is much easier to do in a community with accountability and support.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that community nowadays, right? More and more of our community interactions, especially in larger groups, are going to be happening virtually.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it's exciting that you're offering this opportunity for us to do a virtual summit. It's a wonderful call to action for me to, step out and begin to share what I know.
Yes.
And
You have
I'm
so much
just so
to
grateful to you for
offer.
that. Thank you so much, Renee. Really appreciate you so much. You're such a fire starter and a really inspiring woman. I've been so inspired by your perseverance over the years, and the way that you really get out there and live it and work it. So just thank you so much. I can't wait for Sunday.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to know you and to share this experience with you. And share this journey with you. And yes, I so look forward to tomorrow. And thank you so much for being in my life and being the amazing human being you are. You have so much to offer. I'm so excited for people to experience you.
Thank you so much. We'll see
You're
you then.
welcome. Good night. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was the wonderful Dr. Tiare White, and I will look forward to our conversation as it continues tomorrow to share another wonderful toolbox with all of you. So good night, and we will continue tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that, supporting each other to grow through this and be better for it always. Good night.